Right, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a spiel on fitness and how important it is for the hill. And I'm just going to start by saying I'm by no means a fitness expert, personal instructor, or even claim to be a subject matter expert in this field, but I can share some of the things that have worked for me over the years and share a little bit of light into my program, which actually invariably has changed in the last month. I've typically done a lot of, well, in the last 5 years anyway, a lot of strength training, a lot of power type training, a lot of real heavy sets, low reps with a fair amount of a break in between, and that just was purely for my arm wrestling career. I've been arm wrestling quite heavily for the last 5 years and taken quite a number of state titles and national titles. So that training program is not what I'm going to talk about today. That's putting a lot of weight on up high and that's maybe not conducive to hunting in remote wilderness. So I thought I'll touch on a few of the key things that I do, which is a broad mixture. Firstly, high intensity interval training, so HIIT. That's where you incorporate a lot of short bursts, maybe 1 minute max, as many reps as you can. Get that heart rate right up. It just burns and exhausts you, and that's just to really elevate your heart level, your heart rate. And so I'll do a lot of high intensity interval training over the next 3 months leading up to this hunt for Samba in May, while I'll still incorporate some cardio, just some standard cardio for maybe a 5k run, but I'll try and push it at a fairly fast pace. Throw in some hills in there, so some sort of 2 to 3 kilometre hill runs, which is not much, but it's a lot for me in my current state. So I'm weighing in at about 93 kilos and probably got a fat percentage of around 12 to 13%, so I'm not in the best shape, but I'll aim to get down to around 7 or 8% by the end of this 3-week program. And I won't put on size, like I'll just shape up, so I'll cut away a lot of that fat. And so one of the programs I'm doing at the moment is it's this program called The Matrix. It's an old 1980s Russian bodybuilding program. Actually, I was given it by a guy while I was working offshore, and I really found that it transformed me. It's a program that's designed to really work all ranges of motion. So rather than just your conventional straight up and straight down motion, whether it's bench press or could be squats, whatever, it incorporates a lot of half reps, half up, half down, full range, and then it even breaks it further. It does a lot of fifth reps, so you'll end up sort of from down. You'll do 1/5 down, 2/5 down, 3/5 down, 4/5 down, 5/5 down, then you'll have to do 5 full ones, and then you have to do 5/5 up. So 1/5 up, 2/5 up, 3/5 up, 4/5 up, 5/5 up, and then 5 full ones again. And it's just a complex sequence of all of these types of exercises where your muscle never gets used to the one range of motion, and it's constantly being shocked. And I just find that it was a program that I did about 6 years ago now, before the kids arrived, and I basically turned me into a Spartan. I basically just shredded up. So that's the program I'm going to be doing, and it's a very regimented program. It tells you what day you are to do what exercise, and it gives you sequences A and B, and I'll show this program and clips of it so it makes sense. But it basically gives you allocated rest days, and you follow it like a Bible. So if Monday tells you got to do biceps, triceps, and abdominals, then you will do those programs that day. So that's a program I'm doing at the moment, and mixing it in with Spartacus, which is a different type of training. Again, that's the high intensity interval. It's basically 10 stations of 1 minute, max reps for 1 minute, and you do that 10 stations 3 times. Now, personally, I just do it for 2 full turns. I used to do it for 3, and I just find I'm just not enjoying the third one. So a mixture of this matrix training regime, which is very prescriptive, throw in there 1 Spartacus a week, and throw in there 1, maybe 2 runs one being a flat run, one being a climb run. That's essentially what I do to keep in shape, and watch this figure transform. I should start to lean up. I won't carry as much muscle mass, but I'll get down to about 87 kilos. And if you're really fit, you can push yourself a lot further than others can, and I think that's been a premise of my psyche whenever I've hunted, is always to be as fit as I possibly can be, to be able to push further than most others. And you know, by being able to push that lot further, and I mean, you know, whatever you think you can achieve, you can usually go another 30% more, is the sort of mentality that I've always had. And I think I've been very fortunate too to have a couple of really good hunting mates. You know, Andre Alipate is notoriously renowned for his fitness and physique. That guy will keep up with any human being on this planet. So hunting with people like that, who are equally as fit, is, I think, ultimate component to success. It's not the only component, but it's a very important one. So I always try to be as fit as I possibly can be. I think there's been a few times where I've been out of shape, and I've really felt that. It's probably been some of the years where I haven't been as successful. Being fit, being mentally tough, being physically hardened are all, you know, attributes that you want to elevate your hunting probabilities of success. So for me, if I can, and I'm living in New Zealand or living somewhere where there's hills, getting out in the hills all the time, getting your hill fitness, which is a very specific type of fitness, I must admit. You know, I look back on my mid-20s and even my early 20s, I was hill fit. Like, I used to climb from the valley floor to the very top. I'd do it in less than 2 hours easy. Nowadays it would take half a day. I'm just not hill fit. You know, I'm strong, but I'm not hill fit, and there's a big difference between being hill fit. And so finding that balance where you're able to be cross spectrum, you know, fit and strong, like Andre Alipate, classic example, fit and strong. Climbs a hill fast, but he can deadlift and bench press, and you know, he can squat, leg press, you know, ridiculous numbers. So finding some middle ground of being fit and strong, I think, is really important. But don't underestimate how much, not only physically you're pushing your body, but how much mentally you are, and teaching your mind that, you know, pain is not a limiting factor. It's just a gateway to, you know, the next level of your ability. You know, when you train, or when I train anyway, I thrive on pain. I thrive on that feeling of wanting to be sick. And that's, you know, that's not a fear that people should have at the gym. That's something that should really drive you to push and see where your boundaries are. And that's the same on the hill. You know, I'm not saying don't do things without caution, or take risks, or do stupid things like, you know, put in the biggest day and be unable to get back to camp. That's certainly not the case. But I'm saying learn what your body can handle, and be prepared to push it a little bit further than what you think. And often your body will adapt, and you'll just man up to it. And it's often those, you know, it's often that last 2% of a trip, whether it's you know, a big climb or the end of a day, and you're thinking about heading back to camp, that those big animals come out right on last light. So, you know, being prepared to go into your control room. This is a term Andre Alipate uses quite a lot, but you know, he literally goes into his control room and he is just focused on getting the job done. You know, meanwhile, myself included, will start to battle with yourself mentally and physically, and you know, that's at the end of a big day. That's where your fitness and your mental stamina and strength really comes into play. So, you know, I don't think people should underestimate how important fitness is for success on the hill, and being able to climb into those remote places, backpacking with all your gear on. You know, at times we're going in with 30 kilos of gear, and we're coming out with 40 kilos of, you know, gear and meat and antlers. You've got to be tough for that. You've got to train for that. You can't just assume you're going to rock up to a big backpack sojourn hunt like the one that Andre and I did back in 2009. You know, we covered 187 kilometres over a 10-day period. And you know, Andre and I were at our peak in terms of physique. We were in our mid-20s, we were walking big distances during the day, let alone at night time where it was under head torch, and we were in our control room, both of us. At times we were walking without talking for hours, just both of us just focused on the task at head. And I put a lot of that down to our mental, physical preparation leading into a hunt. All that work that we did at the gym, or all that work that we did climbing a hill. And I think, coming back to my original point, climbing a hill is fundamental. If you're not hill fit, then you're going to have to make up for it in some other way. Like what I'm having to do here in Perth, I don't have access to mountains, so I have to incorporate some other element into my training, but I still find that the hill hurts, and knowing what you can cope with helps me get through that pain barrier. Yeah, those are some words I think will help put people in good stead, and this is applicable to the older generation too. If some mates of mine don't believe in going to the gym, then don't. Grab a big pillow, fill it full of sand, and carry it around sand dunes, around the coastline, or climb up a hill with your bag full of sand or a watermelon. Put a rock in it, whatever. It doesn't have to be in a gym, it can be anywhere. Prepare your body for what will be ultimately a big test on it when you go remote backpacking, and the rewards are there for the taking if you're willing to put in some blood, sweat and tears.